Welcome, everybody. I was over here gabbing. I didn't even pay attention to the time. And this new format is lovely. Jessica, I saw your hello before we even started. So, welcome, everyone. Hello, Catherine. Feel free to say hello. Let us know where you're from. Hey, you like my fancy banner? Jessica, let me tell you, I got to tell everybody how I have been using OBS for 2 years. And, well, yeah, about 2 years, probably a little more. And for the most part, it has caused me more stress than anything in my entire life. But I finally conquered it. And my big rule with OBS is once you get it to work, do not touch anything. But I was feeling a little inspired this week, and I was like, you know what? I want to see if I can make an overlay. So I asked AI for help. It walked me through the steps, and I did it. So that's the story of the banner that you see over my head that says, please click the icon to follow. And all the teachers' links are going to be in the link in my teacher's profile. Jessica, I sure did. I felt that OBS fear and I did it anyway. This is why I'm here. This is what we're here to talk about. And I'm so excited to have these beautiful ladies with me. I literally planned this live on Wednesday. Like I was looking at the schedule. We need to schedule 48 hours in advance. And it was lunchtime on Wednesday. And I was like, if I don't do this right now, I'm going to miss my window. so I planned it because I felt like this was a topic. I mean, a lot of you know that's like my favorite quote, feel the fear and do it anyway. And that's what led me to come to Insight Timer as a teacher, because I used to watch all the other teachers and I loved it. And I wanted to be a part of this, but I'm an introvert. I don't do the whole camera thing. And actually, most of the Zoom calls I was on with other people, I would never turn my camera on at all. So finally, I was like, all right, push yourself. This was like my year to get outside my comfort zone. So I was like, I'm going to apply. If they reject me, they reject me. And part of me hoped that they did, because then I wouldn't have to follow through. But they accepted me. And I was like, okay, now what do I do? So I just jumped in. I liked my crystals and I loved the oracle cards, and I saw other teachers doing that. So I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go there and chat about these. And, I made so many friends on Insight Timer. And the one thing that I was missing was that connection with the other teachers. I was like, how do I get involved with these other teachers? Like there's so many teachers that people never see. There's some that I don't know. Like I want to find a way to bring us together, and everyone has such great advice. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could all talk together? So that led me on my journey to learning OBS. I'm a technology junkie. I love all things tech. My day job, which has nothing to do with what I do on Insight Timer, has to do with tech. So I just, I kept teaching myself these things, and I asked a couple of teachers to join me on a live. I had no idea what we were going to do. They were very sweet and they joined me, and it's been like the most fun thing that I've done. This is, what keeps me coming back to Insight Timer. And also, as an introvert, it's nice for me to have other people to talk with, because even though it's great to interact in the chat, I can't see you. And when I'm here with other teachers, we see each other, we talk to each other, we talk to you, and I love it. So I've been doing this for 2 years, and I decided that we were going to get together today and talk about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And I'm just going back through the comments. First of all, I love this new interface. I know a lot of teachers are like, I don't like it. They changed everything. Tech junkie, change junkie. I love everything. And what I don't love, I make work. So that's all right. So I'm scrolling back to the chat, which for me is a lot clearer than it was. We don't see the bubbles anymore.
That's the only thing that's what I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to write to Insight Timer. We're going to say, please bring back our bubbles, because we don't know. I can't say hello to the bubbles. I mean, I know some of them may be hiding. Maybe they don't want me to say hello, but it's so nice to see the bubbles and know who's there, and to, not be alone. Had I done this as a brand new teacher with no bubbles, I would have thought I was by myself. So I'm just scrolling back up really quick. A couple of nice comments. Suzanne says, glad you felt the fear and did it. Thank you so much, Suzanne, because those comments also keep me going. That's been so validating for me, because my first time on Insight Timer as a teacher, I thought, am I going to look stupid? Is anybody going to come back? Are they going to be like, what are you doing up there, you imposter? And clearly that didn't happen. Everyone was very gracious and very welcoming and just amazing. And I love it. Yeah, Nicole says we can only see. Yeah, it's true. And by the way, ladies, I'm, introvert over here is sometimes my mouth just keeps running. Feel free to jump in and chat anytime you want because I think that's the extroverted introvert in me. It's like even though I'm an introvert, once I get going, it's like, oh, okay, Violet, stop talking.
Couple of things. It could be an open throat in your chart, or it could be the introvert part, because introverts, we're not quiet. We're just very
Right,
selective and we're
right.
very intentional about our conversations, and we can talk you to oblivion.
Yes, right. And when you're with the right people, like right
Mhm.
now, it
New
just
Yorker.
comes out. Like
Yeah.
put me in another group and I will never open my mouth. And they'll be like, what is wrong with her? She's so quiet. She's so shy. But in the right group, Jessica, that's the New Yorker me, the New
Mhm.
Yorker and the Puerto Rican woman, because we can talk and put the two together and woof. Yeah, absolutely. And talk fast too. One thing I've learned on Insight Timer is to slow down because I used to talk so fast, and that is 100% the Puerto Rican in me. So I've actually had people tell me in my tracks, that was a little fast. I'm like, oh, okay, slow it down. So, ladies, I want to start by introducing this beautiful panel that I have here, saying hello to all of you. Please feel free to say hello in the chat and let us know where you're from, because of course, we're not going to know you're here. Well, I'm not going to know you're here otherwise. And let me silence my phone. I just heard a little something there
Um,
and want to make sure that, okay, there we go. All right. Yeah, Tea Lady Nat, I'm emailing them too and begging them to bring back my bubbles. I mean, I could go on my app here, but then on the phone, the icons are so tiny that I have to like really, really look hard or put the phone up to my face so I can try and see who's
who
who.
that? Who that?
Right? The first week it happened, I swore I had eye strain. I had a headache. I was like, why am I getting this headache this week? And it was me trying to look at these tiny little icons. All right, so I'm going to start by letting everyone introduce themselves. And Taylor, my friend, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be back. This topic, I could go on and on about it. So I was like, absolutely. But for those of you that don't know me, I'm Taylor Holliday. I'm currently a first and second grade teacher, but I'm transitioning out of teaching. I'm also a meditation teacher, feminine embodiment coach, starting my own business. So I've been feeling a lot of fear in many different parts of my life, but trying to move through it with as much grace as possible. But so excited to be here and see what comes up in our conversation.
Yes, I'm so excited too. And my friend Nicole, please introduce yourself. And Tea Lady Nat, by the way, says she sent you a note on LI.
Okay, thank you. I will go take a look after this. Good now, everyone. I am Nicole, Success Through Inner Peace Coach. I combine a whole bunch of stuff to help people navigate those unconscious, uh, clear, invisible walls that they don't notice that they're running into. They just know that they're running into a wall and they just don't know where it's coming from. So I help locate those and weed those out so that they can really live in full expression of who they are and get past the fear of doing things and just step into courage. So that's a little bit about me, and let's see where this all unfolds.
Yes, beautiful. And Marion.
Hi everyone, very excited to be here. Thanks again, Violet, and nice to
Excellent.
be with other introverts. As you said, when it's a safe space, our topic, favorite topic, and then we can can really unfold and speak for hours. So fear is a very dear topic for me. So I'm here on Insight Timer mainly on lives because that's precisely where I can open myself up, have time to share with people. I offer glimpses of my practice, which is around the voice. So it's experiences to help people free their voice, reconnect to their inner child. The body voice flow practice is a practice I have founded, which blends improvisation, vocal improvisation, and somatics and mindfulness. So of course, it's something that I've built over years with a background of social anxiety, not fitting in the mold, and big imposter syndrome. And finally, I found a way to express myself as an introvert, just choosing the right ingredients for me, as we all do, I think, among us and in the chat too.
Yes.
I don't know about other people's experiences, but we are able to find, what excites us. And what I feel here and what I felt when you sent me the mail, Violet, is excitement, like, oh yes, there is something here for me. I want to jump in. I'm afraid. And to me, that's a good sign, because I feel like what we're talking here tonight, or tonight for me, but midday for you, is like the positive aspect of fear that can help us to step outside our comfort zone, to grow with joy and excitement, not forcing ourselves because of fear, but feeling like new fresh air that will just make us happy. And yeah. So I'm really curious to hear about all those experiences, because I'm a really fan of process, creative process, and how each one of us walk through life, and fear is big.
Yes, yes. And I love what you said about using your voice, because I find that that's, for me, has been the biggest change, because for the longest time I didn't use my voice. And, to put myself in the situation to be a teacher on Insight Timer when you're on camera and you're the only one talking, like that, talk about forcing yourself to use your voice. That has been a huge experience for me, and such a liberating experience too, because it opened me up to other things in my life that I didn't even realize. You don't even realize how much you're holding yourself back. And one of the things that came up, Taylor had a live this morning that was just amazing. That came up was dimming your light. And that was like, woof, that's the biggest thing that I've changed. I used to kind of sit in the background quietly, and I would help other people to shine, but I wouldn't do it for myself. I was always hiding. And, I finally got to the point where I was like, I'm not gonna and dimming my light sometimes to make other people feel comfortable. Like I didn't want them to feel bad because maybe they don't know as much about technology as I do. So instead of saying like, oh, I can fix that for you. Oh, let me see, maybe, it's no big deal. I just kind of Googled, meanwhile, it's like, why am I playing small? Why not just stand up and own up to it? We've all got our gifts and our talents. Like, you don't need to downplay them to make someone else feel good. And quite honestly, I've realized if I'm with someone that needs that, I'm with the wrong person. I need to, like Wayne Dyer says, if you meet someone who's not aligned with you, wish them well and move along in your path. So this whole experience on Inside Timer has just been an amazing growing experience for me. And I am so grateful, for all the teachers and all the people in the community who have been so supportive. And I am going to let the rest of you talk about, what has for you been a moment where you felt fear and you did it anyway, and what did you learn from that? What was your outcome? So anybody wants to start, feel free. I'm going to keep reading through the comments and chatting away.
I actually just wanted to speak real quick on what you just said too. Like if when you downplay what you're doing, then they won't think of you as the go-to person for what you are really good at.
That's a good point.
You know what? And we think that they'll be intimidated or whatever, but they would actually be more respect, like, oh, that's who you need to go to. They can talk you up. They can see like she knows her stuff. Like you just walk in there with confidence and be like, I know what I'm doing.
That's a really good point. And I never even thought about that. And that's something I used to do at work too. I used to be very quiet at work and forced myself to speak up more and jump in there. Once or twice it got me a big project that I didn't really want because it was time consuming, but I felt good.
Congratulations. Jessica has a question in the chat. Do you want to go there or you want someone to
Yeah, go ahead, read it out.
Okay, how do you change fear away from something scary and maybe turn it into focus or something else? What do you try and turn fear into? Well,
Great question.
for one thing, the fear and excitement, that's the same chemicals in your body, right? So just like Marion said, she's like, I got excited. Like she could have looked at it and been like, oh heck no. It would have been the same energy. It's like, how do you what's the experience that you want to cultivate for yourself? And how do you want your body to learn how to respond? Because if you have a habit of the fear and anxiety, you can shift that slowly but surely by just changing your perspective on things and just being excited or curious about what the possibilities could be from that experience. And I will yield the mic for now with that.
I love that. You know, I read that once, I want to say maybe about a year ago, and I never realized that fear and excitement are the same feeling in your body. So it's how you choose to use it. So now I try to remember that. I mean, there's times when I really am afraid of something, and I try to remember that. I'm like, all right, don't be afraid, you know, get excited, get excited. But yes, anybody else want to tackle that?
Yes, no, I love that excitement, curiosity, because I used to avoid fear. I mean, if I was afraid, to me, that meant you're not capable of doing it. You shouldn't do it. It's not going to work out. Like without even trying, it was just like, get out of Dodge. And now with things like fear, really any emotion now that I do a lot of my own embodiment work, I try to think of that as like a sacred messenger. What's it teaching me? What's underneath this feeling of fear? Is it excitement? I really want to do this, but it's new. I'm not sure how it's going to unfold. I don't even know where to begin. Is there something else from your past that's informing that? And I've been really trying to hold it with love and not see it as a weakness or again a sign that you're not capable. It's so natural to be afraid, right? Our brains, our bodies are trying to keep us alive.
Right,
So
right.
they think a lot of things are dangerous because they're not what we're used to, when really it's just something new. Also, asking for help, it sounds really simple, but for me, that's really hard.
Me too.
So, like, if you really want to do something, you don't always have to do it all alone. You can go to people who hopefully are shining their light, like we said, so we can find them and, yeah, deepen into whatever it is we're trying to do.
Yeah. I have a really hard time still asking for help. I try to push myself to do that more often now. And I've gotten really good at that, especially with my husband. I used to just kind of, you know, curse him out in my head because he wasn't reading my mind. How dare he? And now I just ask him. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, it's fine. And I'm like, why didn't I just try this before? You know, it's so easy.
I think we
Rejection.
put too much pressure on ourselves, you know. This is something we haven't mentioned yet, but excitement, fear, and you know what I mean, imperfection. And I guess we are all perfectionists here.
Yes.
So to me, it's all about playfulness too. So to answer this question, of course, it's quite general. Fear can have so many different facets and aspects, but when it's something that really excites you in good positive way with maybe cortisol but also adrenaline, and maybe you can put a bit of, you know, oxytocin, which means you can inspire yourself from others, and that's something that really helped me, and I'm here with you today now just because other people inspired me. And it's not even about what they really did, but just the energy I could feel, you know.
Yeah.
So to me, it's really about, you know, excitement and not dimming your light, just as you said, you know. I'm so glad you're here and I'm so glad to be with you all, because we know the value of showing our true self just the way we are. So with imperfection, with a presence that is just as natural as it can be. So this includes fear from you right now as I'm speaking, because I'm not fluent. I would like to articulate myself much better, be really concise, precise, you know, tell me what is here in my heart when I'm speaking, but I can't, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is the vibe. So my way to maybe stay focused and not avoid things that could bring really great opportunities and joy to me is to try to stay connected to my flow and to the very first, glimmer, not trigger, but the glimmer that I received just thinking about something and connected to this sensation of energy and trying to, go along this thread and really stay in touch with that, because it's so easy to be disconnected. And for me to go back to I wouldn't say even my past self, because I'm the same person, but to go back in my old patterns of people pleasing, imposter syndrome, not feeling able, and again, same as you, feeling like I have to do this all alone by myself perfectly. So asking for help, oh no, 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 no. I would be ashamed. I would feel just, not enough. So if the spark is here, to me, that's a good sign. That's a sign that, okay, there is fear, but at some point, it's just like excitement can bring the fears down and can take the lead, and I feel driven. And there's a point where, I guess that's the same for you, you will tell me, but when we are live, maybe there is stage fright before. I love stage
always.
fright. But once we're in, we're not driven by the ego so much, we're doing our things, and things happen, and no matter what is here, we just we are in our thing. I don't know, I don't know how to explain it.
No, I think you've explained it beautifully. And yeah, I still go through that. I was saying I still go through that stage fright before I go live. And I've been doing this for 2 years, so I've done a lot of them, and I still have that fear beforehand, and sometimes even want to talk myself out of it. Oh, I should cancel. Why did I plan this? I'm not in the mood. I don't want, I don't want to be on camera, but I just do it. And then once we're here and we're talking, I'm like, oh, this is so great. I'm so happy that we're doing this. I can't wait to do another one. It's amazing.
Something that came to mind as Marion was saying, like if that spark is there, what came to mind as she said that is if a spark comes from you, that means there's something in it that resonates with you, because not everything sparks you or makes you nervous or makes you like, oh shoot, should I? Like if that spark is there, that right there in and of itself is a nudge that possibly you want to explore that. Otherwise you wouldn't have paid it any attention. So if nothing else, let that be ah, for some reason this has caught my ear, my eye, my energy. What could that
Right?
be about?
That's what I always tell people about that little shower idea I had, where I was like, ask your guides. Like I kept hearing that. And I'm like, I talk to myself a lot in the shower. I'm like, why? What am I asking my guides? What is that about? And then I thought, do a thing with other teachers, call it Ask Your Guides. And I got so excited about that. I had no idea why I was thinking these things, but I got so excited. I was like, I have to do something. I have to follow up, and that's exactly what you said. It's perfect. I want to read what T wrote here. T says, you don't need permission to love yourself. Practice self-care daily. Be authentic to give and receive love. You don't have to dim yourself, compete nor compare with anyone else, nor be miserable, nor do anything that isn't compatible with you. And what I love is boundaries. You mentioned boundaries, another one of my favorite topics that we're going to have to cover too. Having boundaries is self-love and self-care. It's always okay to outgrow people who don't accept that and let them go. Yes, yes, yes. Can I put that on a huge sign and hang it above my head? Yes. No walking around on eggshells or changing drastically to fit. You must be in my head. Thank you. To fit with anyone else, being authentic, self-accountable, self-responsible. You deserve to give and receive love. Yes. And Taylor, that's what we were talking about this morning during your live. Yes. T asked, am I a water sign? I'm actually a Gemini. My birthday is in 2 weeks. Not a water sign. I'm an air sign. And my husband would agree because I'm always up in my head.
Just to add something, if I may, about water, I think this is a great element, to release and to get maybe more connected to our flow, because water is really connected to emotions too. And it's a place where, it's our natural first element. We were bathing in water for 9 months. So maybe it can really help us to find inspiration and step out.
Yes, yes. Maybe that's why all my thoughts come in the shower, right? It's that whole flow of the water. And I love water. I have right now in my background on my TV, I've always got like an ocean view playing and water sounds. So yeah, I love that.
That's funny. I like mountains, but I'm a water sign. Like,
Oh, really?
enough water.
Interesting.
I'm
You would love
on water.
you would love it where I am. There's mountains all around.
Gosh, yes. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, what else did I see here? Serena says, I have arrival flight fright. I can't get myself to the stage. If I could get to the stage. Yes, Serena, I have had that for so many years. I know exactly what you're talking about, where I couldn't get myself to where I wanted to be. And I think for me, it was having to just stop thinking about it and just, I said to myself, just do it. Go on Insight Timer, turn that camera on. What's the worst that could happen? Nobody shows up, nobody talks to me, so I don't do it again, right? It would have been okay. I would have survived. Would not have been like the most fun, but I would have been okay. I would have moved on. I thought, I'll move on to something else. You know, I have a day job. It's not like I was coming here because I needed to do something. I was doing it for myself and being able to look at it as something where whether I failed or not, I tried and I could be proud of myself for having tried. I think that's where you have to take that step.
Yes. I
You
like what,
lady. Yeah. Go ahead. Please add to it.
I was just gonna say I like what V put in here in the chat. Dr. V. She said, I haven't always been this way, but learned to add fear to my friend circle as a guide to show me where to go and grow.
Yeah, I like that. That is definitely inspiring.
Oh, that's a Gemini.
Tea Lady Nat, when is your birthday coming up? Must be soon.
Yes.
Yes, Marion just wrote in the chat, will I regret it if I don't dare? I think that was a huge motivator for me for so many things I've done.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been so many times where I've pushed myself and you know, and I would have regretted it because I ended up going to places where I thought, oh, I don't really want to do this because, you know, I'm an introvert and what are they going to be like? But I ended up meeting, you know, wonderful people, or maybe you made a new friend or a connection or something that you would have missed out on if you hadn't done it.
Yeah. You go to a place and you're like, this is why I was supposed to be here. That's what happens to me a lot. Because there more often than not, I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't like to leave my house. So when I
Me
go
too.
somewhere, when I go somewhere, I end up like, I'm so glad I came. Even,
Yes.
driving into DC is like the worst. So I really like if I'm having this kind of resistance, I'm probably supposed to be there. So let me go.
Right. And once you go through it, like for me, just having done it once or twice, pushed myself to do something, then the next time I'm more likely to, even though I have that hesitation of I don't want to go because
Yeah,
I'm a hermit. I love being home.
me too.
But then I remember the other occasions where I've pushed myself and gone and had a great time. And I think I want to experience that again. So I'm gonna go.
Yep, that is the truth. I resonate with that.
That
That's
makes me think
different for me. Oh,
like
sorry, Taylor. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it makes me think of a lot like what you were saying, Violet, about I've also been on Insight Timer as a teacher for like 2.5 years now, which is wild. And I always think about what if I hadn't done this? Because I've met some of the most amazing, open, loving, inspiring people on this platform that really just help me in my life in more ways than I can even say, just by sharing their own experiences. So again, it's like sometimes you move with that fear and you have no idea where it's going to take you. Like I never thought I would be doing this now. I'm also someone, I'm an introvert. I love being at home. I don't like being on camera. And yet here we are having this beautiful conversation. Like, what if I had missed out on this? You
Right.
know, so sometimes it's like you have to just imagine maybe it's going to be even better than you could have imagined. It might take you somewhere totally different just because you stepped out of your comfort zone.
I do agree. I can relate to what you just say, Taylor, because I was really, affected by social anxiety. I call myself really person with social anxiety. Been really active on forums, on the internet at the beginning of 2000. chatting anonymously with people to trying to overcome my fear. And if at that time you would tell me I would be here with you now, speaking in English with people from all over the world, showing my face, talking about fear, I wouldn't believe it. And I would just like to add something regarding, being inspired by others, asking yourself, if I don't do that, will I regret it? There is something else that is maybe perceived as negative, but sometimes I can use is comparison. Like if someone does the thing I would like to do, but before me, I know they did it and I didn't dare. And, I see my life passes by and all the other ones are accomplishing themselves and I'm stuck here and I feel so miserable. But you can reverse that and say, well, they did it, so why not? And also, again, each time realizing that what we see outside doesn't show, what's behind the fear we can still have, the struggles we had before, all that is under the surface. And we all have challenges, even, maybe the brightest speaker or people that seems at ease. We don't know where people are coming from and what they have done to come there. So it's not to say that it's not easy, it's just that each one their way. And I think there is a right time, to really open up. But we just got to listen to yourself and stay open to the opportunities. But a great thing for me has been to find the right people with whom I was able to just shine my little light with no judgment and with like-minded souls. And progressively, I was more and more not into comparison, but just like, yeah, I want to be with them. I want to do like them. And in September has played a great part for me last year regarding this, because, it's such a place of abundance in terms of creativity. So it can really inspire other people. I mean, we are here as so-called teachers, right? We are teaching, but other people in the chat not necessarily want to be a teacher and inside them, but even in our daily life, the more we can connect with people that just allow themselves to be themselves, the more we can have compassion and say, well, I don't have to be perfect. I just have to do what I want to do and be what I want to be. And one thing I try to tell myself now is, what do I want to be? How do I want to be? And from that point, then what do I want to do? Because previously I was someone who was so over adapted, trying always to do things. And at the end, anxiety, burnout, and feeling completely not in the right place, and asking myself, who am I at the end? Instead of just allowing yourself. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, you're not. No, you're
What's
not.
going on?
And you know what? I find as introverts, we're always apologizing for talking. Keep talking.
Yeah, I'm not
I
gonna
do it. I do it all the time. I'm always apologizing. It's like once I say 5 words and I'm sorry, and I'm like, why am I sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a
Who did
very
you hurt?
common trait that people have, and
I
maybe I would not say especially as women, but it's really,
definitely as a woman.
come on among women too, like, oh, not too much, not too much. I was someone completely invisible, and I'm still, because I'm a hermit too. I've got a hermit profile. I love my solitude. I love creating a lot, but then I love to share. And it's like, I know, it's such a great place to share from your hermit cave,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our little world, and I love your background. We all have some creative places with all the things it tells so much about us. I can't just on my camera, but I've got things over there. And so we don't have to change ourselves. We just have to allow ourselves. And I really think that's really empowering to see other introverts, take place without shouting, without, overlooking others, just peacefully, just, allowing yourself. And to me, this has really to do with the inner child too. Like, who am I when I'm connected to my inner child? There's no judgment. There's just, well, let's play. And I'm excited again. You just jump into it, jump. And the fear is almost gone.
Yeah, when you get into excitement, you don't realize the fear. You just jump in like little kids. When you were saying about comparison, I was like, it got me, I had to get to a place, I didn't have to, but I chose to because it was otherwise exhausting comparing myself. But it's like, if they can do it, that means it can be done. That means
Right.
I can do it. So thank you for showing me that it's doable. I don't have to figure that part out. Thanks for doing the hard part for me. It's
Yes,
like
yes.
getting in there.
And I don't know about you before you became a teacher, but I used to look at all the other teachers and thought they were superhuman and there was no way I can do what they do. You know, they speak and they, hey, Melanie, hello. I'm sorry. I saw Melanie. Because we don't see the bubbles anymore. So I get excited when I see somebody
Yeah.
popping into the chat.
Mhm.
But now you derailed me. What was I saying? Oh, the
Um,
teachers. Yes, I used to see the teachers and I thought they were superhuman. And I thought, I can't do that. I can't do what they do because they have something I don't. And then you go out and you do it and you try and you get to know them and you're like, oh no, they're human like me. They have bad days like I do. There's times they don't know what they're doing either. So we can do it. And that's very
Yeah.
healing.
And also just I was thanking a young lady today. I've learned a lot of my human design stuff from Fiona Wong. And I was talking you up because someone asked how they can learn more about human design. I mean, I can too, but I'm like, go to Fiona. She's been doing this for years. Like I've only been doing it for a year and some change. She's been doing this for years. She's like, I love you. I was like, I love you too. She's a projector. So I was like, I found you inspired me because you are you. You were being your true authentic self. I found her. Projectors are not usually designed to be out marketing and inviting people, right? We get invited. And
I'm a
so
projector.
yeah. I have projector energy. I don't want to label it, but my energy is projector energy. And so I'm like, I found you because I was looking for something. Finding you showed me what it looked like to be a projector in this world of everybody go do it, just go do it. And that's not how we operate. That's not the best way to operate.
Yes.
So just when you show up in your true authentic self with all the flaws, which are just beautiful, shiny gifts and quirks and stuff like that, it just reminds people of like, oh wait, I can do that. I can so be that. And it's also freeing because otherwise if I had to remember who I was yesterday on this live, I'd be like, what was that personality again? Because I can't remember.
Yes,
Then I'll be
yes,
looking at her
yes.
crazy.
Right? There's
And
not, for me, there's nothing more beautiful than just being your authentic self. And it took me so long to do that for myself. I used to hide so much, and
yeah,
I love what you said.
thank you. Yeah, that
I think
consistency
the
helps
more,
too
oh, sorry,
for
Nicole.
people. That's
The,
okay. I'm sorry.
Stop,
Was
no, both of you stop
talking over
apologizing.
yourself.
What did I
But
say?
it's my
And
just
someone put it
my
in the chat too. Someone was like, stop apologizing. I'm like, I
well,
know,
I
we do
just
it.
I was apologizing for interrupting her
No,
speaking, talking over.
I know.
I was just
We're not allowed to say we're sorry anymore throughout this entire
okay.
live.
All right, we got it.
exactly, but I'm happy to say sorry for like no reason here, and I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel upset. It's just it's lighter than before when I was always
Yeah.
hiding too.
Yeah.
And I think that we have also this fear of revealing our true selves because we feel that others people want to hide. No, but for me personally, I know that a big part of my fears of being, revealed, taking space, was because I was feeling that around me, people were always trying to hide their true selves. And I had this intuition of, I know who you are, I feel your soul, I feel your true self, but you're not showing like this. So
Yes.
I was, always like, I don't know, between two worlds. Are we supposed to be our true selves or are we supposed to mask? And social comedy, was so hurting for me. And one of the medicine in this world for me is really to show people be their true selves so that they can allow myself to be my true self so that then I can allow others to be their true self. And that's, what we call interbeing, interdependence. We're just so connect. It's the way we connect ourselves because otherwise it's just a permanent comedy where we don't really know who people are. And that's not about really revealing your private life, because sometimes also as introverts, we are afraid. I know myself, I was always afraid that I was like a book, an open book, and that anyone could see things about me just by hearing me or watching me, but that's not the truth. But we can still feeling true and appearing as true, authentic to others, while setting our boundaries and, keeping things private and not telling everything, but just letting a bit of openness. And I don't know, what are you thinking, Taylor? We haven't heard you. I've been speaking so much.
No, I'm like geeking out over here from this whole conversation. Like this is just everything. I was thinking that I know for me personally, and I was talking about this in my live this morning for Mindful Tea. Our theme was radiance, and that's something that I've
It was
really
amazing.
Thank you so much. Really been exploring the last couple of weeks as I'm kind of mapping out my own, I kind of call it my like goddesshood journey, because I'm all about reclaiming my inner goddess, the empowered woman within. And that's something I'm very passionate about helping other women with. And so kind of figuring out like, how have I gotten where I am? And thinking about radiance, letting your inner light shine. I think for me, it's something I deeply desire, but it's also really scary because I haven't allowed myself to even see my inner radiance, let alone other people who may or may not know me, thinking about being on this platform. And so I think for a lot of us, we deeply desire that, but it's like, I don't even know who that is. I've been people pleasing, I've been masking, like I'm trying to reclaim myself before, being maybe ready to show who I truly am and feel safe in that. So if you're feeling like that's really hard, it might be. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But I think we're also sharing the power of being brave enough to begin to show yourself in spaces, places that feel safe and supportive. But yeah, that's what was coming up as you were chatting about kind of why that might be a little bit difficult or why that fear exists around it.
Yeah, and I love that because I feel like Insight Timer has been that place for me. And being here has been so healing for me because I've been able to be around people that made me feel safe enough to be myself. And it's still a work in progress. There's still moments when I find myself holding back and I'm like, push yourself a little more. You can do it. It's okay. I love that.
And we can do it at our own pace, We live in a world where we're supposed to do so much. But as introverts, I think our first gift is really our presence. Just to say, I met a young man maybe 2 months ago in the street. I was walking, and this guy asked me for a handkerchief. He greeted me. He had a big backpack. He was walking, so I suppose he was doing a trip by feet. And I said, yes, of course. And then he asked me about a mountain just over there. Is it this mountain? And I said, yes. And then all of a sudden he said, are you walking? Are you doing a pilgrimage or something like that? Because I'm passionate about walking, doing inner work and nature. Well, and ending by having a coffee together, something that I would never do in my past life, talking
Wow.
on unknown. Now I'm older, I'm a late bloomer, so I can allow myself to do these crazy things. And then we just spend maybe around 1 or 2 hours talking like two introverts. And he was 23, I'm 46, sorry. In my head, I'm just 17, but anyway.
Mine
And
too.
I was realizing, yes, I know how good it feels to be with introverts sometimes, just the gift of their presence, active listening, not talking too much, and just letting space for things to unfold and not being afraid of silence, appreciating silence for, as time to digest. I know for me personally, I'm really slow at processing emotions. So I can be really excited, like today in a conversation where, my mind is racing and I'm just thrilled, but I also enjoy deep silence. And I know that when we want to show up, when we have something dear into our heart and that we want to bring into the world, one of the best things we might do is really to trust our rhythm so that we can feel aligned. And talking about human design, I've learned a few things that, again, also with astrology, that has confirmed me what I had feeling innerly. And we don't need outer validation, but sometimes it's good to have cues and hints to say, oh, well, I was right to trust myself. Because sometimes somewhere maybe it's written that I function like this, but anyway, trust your rhythm. And when we don't force ourselves, it feels good. But it takes me really a lifetime to realize that I don't have to put so much effort. I don't have to put so much pressure on myself. And I'm always amazed when I do live on Inside Time, or like sometimes, I'm just tired, or I don't feel, on the top, I'm not perfect. Have I got enough energy to show up? But the little bit I give is just largely enough, because we just need presence. And I know that as introverts, we have this, I wouldn't call it power, because extroverts and introverts are not necessarily opposed, but the best gift we can give to the world is just being ourselves and respect our true nature. At least that is something that is really dear to me. Like, just let it be. But it takes courage too, don't you think?
Oh, a lot of
A
courage.
world where everything outside is telling us the contrary. It's so easy to get trapped again and to push, to force ourselves to prove something. It requires courage. But courage comes from a heart, a word that means heart. In French, we say cœur, cœur and courage. That's the same word. So it's not about bravery. To me, it's more about really listening.
I love your accent.
I do too. I do too.
It's,
Yeah,
I'm like,
It's a
I'm
big
like, what?
advantage of being French.
Do it. I would listen and pick out a few words, but that's about it.
Right.
I was gonna say something in response. It was something you said, but it
I loved what you said about being okay with silence too, because that's something I've had to learn. I've struggled with that. Even when I first went live, I was like, I got to keep talking, and I'm not a talker. So, it's I was on screen by myself, and I felt like I had to have this entire conversation by myself with no pause and no breathing. And after the live, you get off and you're like, and to learn to be okay with silence has been a trip for me, to say the least, although I'm a silent person. But to be silent around other people, like, and be okay with it, be comfortable with that, that's definitely been a growing experience for me. I'm still learning that one.
I remember. Yes. Well, in coaching, that's where clients usually get that aha. You're quiet and it lets them process, and then like whatever happens in that energy of silence, it's usually when some of the biggest light bulbs come on. But I was gonna say, Marianne was like, it takes a lifetime. Yeah, I feel like the 40s, when you get to 40, is like when you really start to get to a place of like, you know what? This world stuff, let me figure out who I am. Because this is exhausting. I'm tired. I'm
Yes.
tired. Our brains are like, this is wait, it's time to shift. Who am I again? Because we need to reconnect.
Yes.
But
Yes, you're figuring out what's for you, like
mhm,
with gratitude, what's not with gratitude as well. Like it does not
mhm,
all have to be for me. That's great because there's
mhm.
so much coming at us. And I know I'm like, ooh, let me meditate, let me ground because it's too much sometimes. So yes, silence. I think Marion, you also mentioned something about ease, which has been something I've been really trying to call in. Like one question I heard on a podcast recently, what if I let this be easy? And I was like, wait, what? Because we can complicate things. I know I can. I'll speak for myself. I can
I
complicate
can.
things. Ooh, it's like, girl, what? Why are we doing this? Like, what if I just let it be easy? I keep asking myself that. And I'm like, ooh, it would probably feel a lot better.
Yes.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, and I find that, with my relationship with my husband, like that's been my attitude the past year. It's like, why am I stressing over these little things? So he doesn't, clean something the way I do, or load the dishwasher, or unload it as fast as I would like him to. So what? Like it's kind of like that, pick and choose your battles. Just let it be easy. Everything doesn't have to be a fight. It doesn't have to be so complicated. And it's been a huge change in my whole mental attitude completely. Yeah, what if I just let this be easy? There were so many good nuggets that came up today, Taylor, in your live. I have to see if I saved any of my screenshots while we're chatting, because I gotta find some.
We were both screenshotting. I was like, hold on, everybody, because you guys are dropping some wisdom
Oh my
that I'm
goodness.
gonna need to return to.
It was amazing.
I love it.
Oh, by the way, I'm just really enjoying the comments as well. Thank you guys so much for
Yeah,
sharing what you're thinking as we're chatting. I've really, really been enjoying scrolling through.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Madeline wrote mid 30 here in the same feeling, right? That whole like at some point in your life, you feel like it's time to stop trying so hard and exhausting myself. I'm going to be 60 at the end of the month.
Where?
And can you believe it? I'm like, when did
No.
that happen? I'm still 17 inside where it counts. But I went last weekend to visit my grandkids and my adult kids, and one of the things I was saying that I was no longer doing was the whole body image thing, didn't want to put on a bathing suit. I got myself a cute bathing suit that I love. I put it on and I jumped in that pool with the babies and was playing like I was 5 years old, and I felt fabulous. And I thought, why haven't I done this for 20 years? Why have I been holding myself back? And I feel like I'm at an age where I'm like, I'm not stopping myself anymore. I don't care. I'm not going to worry about what I look like or who's looking at what. I don't care. I'm just going to do what makes me happy. So I am definitely, I can say without a doubt, I'm at an age in my life where I'm really happy with who I am. And I wish I'd been that person 20 years ago, but that's all right. It's never too late to start.
Yeah. People really aren't paying us any attention. They're worried about themselves, just like we aren't paying anybody else attention.
And then going back to the bathing suit, I see people out there in bathing suits and I'm like, well, I would never wear that. And I'm like, you know what? Instead of saying I would never wear that anymore, I say more power to her.
Yeah.
For feeling so good about herself that she can do it. I want to feel that way too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Madeline says, I love, April said, Violet, happy triple 20.
Thank you, April. That's right. Triple 20. I tell people that's what I am. Triple 20. I love it.
Let's see. Madeline says, Violet does really make a difference in our relationships when we choose to take a breath before reacting and allowing things to be easy.
Yes. And I'm doing that a lot lately. Sometimes I'm taking so many breaths. I'm like, where was all this oxygen before? But it really has changed my perspective. Like my mindset has shifted so much. I'm almost at the point where not a lot bothers me. I mean, we have our moments, but
Ooh,
but
yeah.
definitely nothing like I was 20 years ago where everything was kind of like a fight.
I mean, and it makes sense. We grow, we learn. If you were still like you were 20 years ago, then that means you didn't really grow too much. So yay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Serena wrote, she's like, one day last year I journaled. I was born the day my father died. I was
Aw.
41 at the time. Reflecting on that moment, that was the day I began to truly shake free of my yesterdays.
That is so beautiful. And Serena, you should be a writer because I love journaling and I could not have worded that more beautifully. That's amazing.
Serena, the way she's so poetic in her writing. Like when she's in my lives and some of the things says, I'm like, sometimes I don't even have to say anything. I just let Serena say it. Because she's already saying what I'm thinking and she says it so much more beautifully. I'm like, y'all just read Serena's. But I was gonna say a question. I think it was a workshop I was giving, and I shared with them something I had heard, and I was like, this feels kind of heavy and harsh, but it's like, who has to die for you to start living your life? Like, who in your life, if they weren't here, you would be living the way you want to be living. So that's
Yeah.
what Serena's comment made me think of, and it's just like, that's such a it feels heavy to think about, but
Yeah.
it makes you think like, who is it that I'm afraid to actually be who I am because they might say something or they might be judging me or whatever. So some of that fear, especially family units, will do that too.
Mm.
My mom might be disappointed, my blah blah blah. She's not paying your bills, just saying. And if she is, get out and then you could be who you want to be. But
It's funny that you mentioned family because when I first went on Insight Timer, I didn't let anybody know. And like I wouldn't post anything about it on Facebook because I know they're on my Facebook and I didn't want them to know. And then I got to the point where I was like, why do I care? Like, why am I still hiding who I am? I put it out there now all the time. I don't care if they don't like it. No one's made a comment, but if they thought it was too woo or too weird, I'd be like, yeah, so what? I love it. I don't care.
Y'all are
Madeline,
welcome.
wait, Madeline, I love you. Madeline thought I was 45-ish.
Yes,
I
honey,
I
you
love you,
don't.
Madeline. Message me later. I will pay you.
Yeah, Girl, no, you do. You have a young face.
Oh,
I mean,
thank you.
although 60 is not old, so there's that also.
And I don't feel it. I remember when I was younger thinking 60 sounded so old. It's so funny. The closer I get to like 70 or 80, it's like, oh, they're young. They're young.
I think
You
that's
know, 30 used to sound old to me. And now I'm like, oh, they're kids. They're children. They're babies.
that's what I do. I'm like the people at work. I think I'm the oldest of the women contractors, and I'm like, y'all are such kids.
Yeah.
And not in the like mindset way, just the
Right,
age.
right,
I'm like,
right.
yo, babies,
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
Well,
so
I code, and that's a
Mhm.
very young
Yeah.
population. So when I'm in meetings with these coders, I'm like, they could be my kids. Like they're half my age. And it doesn't even faze me. I feel like I'm right there with them. I'm like, I know
Yeah.
just as much as you do.
Yeah.
I still feel, I think that's what keeps me feeling 30.
I can see that.
Bella, no, you are not late at
There's no
all.
such thing.
You are right on time. And they will be a replay.
Hmm.
He says, I love the what if questions. Like, what if I extended grace to myself? And yes, yes,
Hmm.
I love questions like that. Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Hello. Bella.
I love that.
Hmm.
All right, ladies, we've almost been going at it for an hour. And I'm trying to be good and be mindful of time, something that I'm also not good at. So I'm
I
just
always go
curious
over
if,
my time. Every week, every single time I go over my time. Like, I'm sorry. I'm
right,
having so much fun.
right. I mean, I always aim for like an hour and I end up doing an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I'm
Yeah.
like, let me keep an eye on the time. But I'm just curious to know if anybody in the chat wants to share anything that they've done where they felt the fear and they did it and had a great outcome, or if there's something that you're holding back on doing, like if there's some encouragement that we can give you, some advice, some help. Let's see what Serena says. Any other stories of fearful moments and the outcome,
Oh,
Serena?
yeah.
I have plenty of them. I'm going to let somebody else answer that because if I gave you one of my like 30, we'd be here for like another hour. So does someone want to tackle that?
Oh, I love that, Ranuka. Hopefully I said your name correctly.
You joined a swim class. That's
With
awesome.
the fear of water.
Yeah,
I
yeah, that's
love that.
awesome.
What
Awesome.
was, let me think. I'm trying to think.
Before I met my current husband, I remember I went out to this and that was a big deal for me. I was 40, probably one when I divorced my first husband. So I was getting back out there. I was like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to date, something I was terrified of. And I remember back when there was MySpace. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I belonged to like a group of people. They lived in Queens. I'm in New York, but I'm a little further away from Queens. And they were getting together, and I decided to be brave and go out there. Now, my being brave was always to bring a friend with me. So the day that we were going to go out to this get together in Queens, my friend backed out on me. And I was like, what do I do? Like, I really wanted to go. There were some people there I'd been chatting with for like months. I really wanted to meet them. And I got in my car and I went. That was my, beginnings of my feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And I met the most amazing people. I became friends. I actually even dated one of them for a while. Clearly that didn't work out, but it was a great experience. And I thought I would have missed out on this if I hadn't pushed myself to. And I mean, that was terrifying for me. I was like an hour and a half from Queens. They were all from Queens. I was the only one coming from outside the area. I had the longest drive. Some of them knew each other. I knew no one. So that was really terrifying to me. And I was really upset with my friend for backing out on me because that was my clutch, my crutch. And I used to do that a lot. I used to bring somebody with me for that moral support. Even now, sometimes I find myself doing that. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go by myself. I'm not going to ask anybody. I'm going to go by myself. Thank you, Joanne, for remembering MySpace. That was a long time ago.
Bella says she remembers it too.
Oh, good.
Serena says, great story. I appreciate that. It was an early overcoming fear moment that stood out to you. You know what? I don't, I remember the first time I posted on TikTok. My very first video on there was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it anyway. That's really all I put on there. I was like, what's the worst that can happen? I still don't really post on there so much anymore, but really just getting on, just posting videos and being live and sharing my writing and my stories and my poetry in public. I was like, well, here goes, click. Like that was very nerve-wracking for me. But I at this point, I'm like, if I get any criticism, that's a compliment. That means people are, I'm being seen, I'm being recognized in some kind of way. It's people tend to criticize things that they wish that they could do
Yes.
or whatever. So it's like that's a compliment to me. So if you want to send those heavy words my direction, I'm just gonna send love your way. I will say the most sweetest thing back to you. Like I'm but
Yes.
another thing that recently does not like personality type wise is zip lining.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, let's do this. And I'm walking, and then we get up to the top, and I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. I'm like, I don't think I'm already up there though. I'm like, right, the next person to go. And I'm like, yeah, too late. It wasn't too late. He probably could have taken me out of the harness, but it was so fun. It was a short line. So I'm like, now I want a longer line. But yeah, I don't know. It just like Violet said earlier, it's like you may have this hesitation, but once you get there, you're like, I'm glad I came here. I'm
Yeah.
glad I did it.
I do have to add that when it comes to like zip lining and bungee jumping and all that, that fear is real, you know, because for me it's like life or death fear. So more power to you for doing it.
Touche. You're right. You're right. Because if it would have snapped in the middle of that, that would have
Oh
been a
gosh.
very
You know,
painful
but you
fall.
know what? That's how I talk myself out of things too. And it's like if you feel the calling to do it,
Hmm.
just do it. I've not gotten to that, but you know, or jumping out of a parachute. I don't, not on my bucket list. But I think if it is, you should do it.
I did the indoor skydiving and I was like, well, this is anticlimactic. Maybe I need to do the real one.
Yeah, let them throw you out of a plane and see.
Oh gosh,
Uh,
I was thinking about, I guess it was 2 years ago now that I learned how to create meditations. I loved meditation. It's changed my life. And I realized I also have always loved to write poetry. And so I was like, I want to learn how to share this with other people. And I remember we were in like groups of four. So there were three other girls with me that were really cool. And we were just learning how to practice like guiding together. So it was just like a small group, just like we are on a camera. And I was so scared and I didn't know how long should the pauses be and how should my voice sound. Everything was just like, oh my gosh, like there was so much to consider and worrying about looking foolish. And now again, I'm like, what if I hadn't done that? I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing my lives. Like, I mean, there's just so many things that have come from that. Again, moving with that fear. And now when I create meditations, it's so much easier and lighter and joyful. You know,
Yes.
it wasn't at first. It's
No.
painstaking at first. But but again, it turned out really, really well in ways that I would not have thought. So again, keep going, even though it
Yes.
might feel scary. If you
I
feel
still
oh,
cringe when I listen to my first two tracks because I think they were awful and yet
I
people were
won't.
so nice. You know, it's like, yeah, I even thought about redoing them, but I was like, you know what? Just leave it. Because I was like you, I was like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. So I did it quickly just to get through it. Because again, I thought for sure Inside Timer was going to reject me. So I was like, just don't even worry about it. Just do it. Just put it out there. And now I'm like, I probably should have put a little more thought into them. Had I known, 2 years later, I'd still be sitting here.
You know, another thing that I still get nervous is my motorcycle. When I get on that, when I first started writing many
First
years
of all, I
ago.
love that you have a motorcycle, but go on.
Thank you. When I first started writing, I had an 883, so I'm a Harley chick, hog.
Nice.
Um, and I was good. And then I got in an accident. That was my
Mm.
fault. Compound fracture on my wrist and everything. So I didn't get back on for 2 years. Um, but it was still like I was tense on my ride. I couldn't have fun. So that's Taylor, your comment is like now it's fun to do this. It's what it reminded me of. I was like, I would ride and I would just be like so tense and nervous. And I'm like, this is not fun. And so one year, and this was before I even knew about visualization and the power of it. I was down at Fort Gordon. I was still in the Army. I was down at Fort Gordon for training. And for whatever reason, I just kept visualizing myself being on the bike, enjoying myself. I was like, wish I had my bike down here. Like I enjoyed riding it, but for whatever reason, my mind was like, I want to be on my bike. I got home and I got on that bike and it was such a smooth ride.
Nice.
So just to speak to visualization, but still when I get until now the bike I have is bigger than that one. And that kind of still makes me nervous, but I go anyway. I'm like, everything that I've done up to this point has proven I can do this. So that's what I try to stay stay in that mind, because where my energy goes, that's where, you know what? I want to stay up. So
Yes. Yes.
let me stay up here. So that was just another thing. And Marion, I know we like just been going back and forth. What's
Looking at Sylvia's comment, she's leaving her last relationship, which also included leaving the job you started with him, going from a secure paycheck to dog walking, sitting, Uber Eats, cleaning for people. Can't imagine going back at the post office. So grateful for the new space. That is absolutely wonderful, Sylvia. I don't know if you were here in the beginning when Taylor was talking about changing careers. That is always a huge leap. And I've done that. At age 50, I went back to get a master's degree because I wanted to work remotely. And I was doing, data work at a hospital. And I thought if I could get my master's degree in data analytics, I could get the job I want and work remotely from home. And I did it. It was scary, but I did it, and it took a lot. So good for you. Keep going. I love that. And Taylor, you're going through that. If you have any advice, please.
I get so inspired whenever I hear of other people. I'm 38, so I feel like I'm like at this time in my life, I'm not married, I don't have kids, so I feel like I've got more flexibility at this point in my life. But yeah, it is for me, it's been very scary. Leaving teaching, told my boss, told everybody at work, but it's also, like we were saying, it's also really exciting and freeing and empowering. Like I get to choose the life that I want. And I love to like speak to my ancestors. So I always imagine them just like, yes, like you are choosing this life that like we didn't get to choose, but you are able to choose this for yourself. So I'm just like hats off to anybody that's doing that because I'm learning a whole lot of things I never thought I would be learning, but just like know you could do it. I love to hear other people's stories on podcasts, other things that kind of like remind you again, like we were saying, if somebody else can do it, why not me? And who am
Right.
I not to do that for myself if it's what I
Yes.
really desire? You know what I mean? So just reminding yourself, like, I deserve this. And if it's hard, to me, things that are really easy usually aren't like super meaningful necessarily. So like if it's challenging, like, okay, that means that you really want it. So I don't have any other advice besides that, but just like keep doing it and keep sharing with other people because I know that really helps me to hear other people who are kind of in the same place. But congratulations.
Yeah, it's so inspiring to see people have the courage to do that. And I think for us to be able to inspire other people is really awesome and it's healing for me. It's so healing when someone comes to me and says, "Hey, because you did this, it gave me the courage to do whatever." And I think, "Wow, that, talk about finding your purpose in life. There's nothing that brings me greater joy than comments like that." And, I get a lot of beautiful messages from people and emails and stuff like that. And that just makes my day. Love it.
Me too.
Right.
And I wanted to say too, like when we were talking about comparison earlier, me and all of us could be doing the exact same thing, but we have our different tribes because our energies attract different people. The people who needs to hear you will hear you. So please show up.
Yes.
Please show up
Yes.
in full expression of who you are. Like Serena said earlier, she's like, if you aren't your authentic self, how did you say it, Serena? Do you remember what you said? I just love the way she said it. I think Marion was gonna
Ah,
say something. I'll find it. Well, I think
yeah. Yeah.
probably
Please
tomorrow.
find it because it was so beautiful. I love the way people write. I'm a huge fan of writers and I love journaling. I always had this thing like I wanted to be a writer, but I think I just love to read what everybody else writes.
I love writing that makes me go like, yes. Oh, in a good way though. Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
love the way you said that. I would have never thought to put those words together. That's beautiful.
I read something online that I was going to share. It was called Ripples. It's really short. It says, when you create a difference in someone's life, you not only impact their life, you impact everyone influenced by them through their entire lifetime. No act is ever too small. One by one, that is how to make an ocean rise. I love that.
I
I
read
saw
that
that and I had to, did you? I had to
Yeah,
save it because I
shared
loved it.
I shared it somewhere.
Did you share it? Maybe that's where I saw it. Because I saw it like on Instagram or something. I was like, "Ah, I'm
Probably.
saving this. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it too, and I know something for me which is really tangible is that fear is contagious, but inspiration is contagious too.
Yes.
The whole
Yes.
chain, it's like, and ripples, yeah, that's the image of ripples, constantly effervescent and bubbling, and what we like here. Are we
Yes.
allowed to quote on lives now, Violet? Can I quote something?
I
Or
think you can quote every now and then when I post a
want to.
replay. No. Post, you can quote. I haven't been posting audio replays of the lives, just the video replay, which I can't put on Insight Timer anyway, only because it became such a thing where I had to like edit so much and it was so time consuming. So quote away. I love it.
So yeah, because just before the live, I was thinking about this poem of David White, you might know, which is called Start Closing. Start closing, don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing closing, the step you don't want to take. And the whole poem goes like this, the start with the first step. So don't worry about what will come next. Just do the first thing. And then you will be able to swim maybe in the new ocean. I don't know, but I really love this poem because it also has a great rhythm. You can repeat it like a mantra and something that can be helpful maybe.
What was that? What was the name of? I want to put his name in the chat, or if you could put his.
I can write it.
Yeah, if you could put it in the chat, because I want to look for that. I love that.
And as you're saying that, I found what Serena said earlier.
Oh, what did she say?
She's like, from a student perspective, yes, teachers, if you dull your shine, how do I trust I'm seeing an authentic light?
Yes.
Her and her poetry. I love
David
it.
White. All right, good. I'm going to look for that. Excellent. All right, my friends, before we go, does anybody have anything they want to add or anything they want to share? Any questions? I'm never in a hurry. So if you do, just let me know.
Did you say you have an open spleen center? Is that what you said?
I think, I'm going to have to look at my human design. I don't know. But that's the other thing I wanted to say. There's a couple of spin-offs that we need to do. Definitely boundaries. Definitely want to touch on that human design because I'm fascinated by that whole subject. There was something else someone said here, and I can't remember what it was now. I was like, yeah, we have to do something on that. I'll have to go through the chat later and remember.
I did have one live on human design. I was like, I need to do more. It could go on for hours.
Definitely boundaries, Serena. Boundaries are a huge topic. We're definitely going to do that. I was talking to Ann Lewis too about, oh gosh, what the heck was it we were going to do? Oh, comparison. Comparison is a thief of joy. That's another topic we want to do.
It is.
Because I know I compared myself to every teacher on Inside Timer. I was like, I'm not as good. I don't have as much to offer. I don't know how to do meditations. I don't know how to do yoga. If I had let that stop me, and then everybody, loves the Oracle cards. And I was like, how am I going to do that? Everybody's doing it. It's nothing unique. And I finally just told that little voice, just be quiet and just go and do something. And it worked out.
You could say anything you want to. I just love hearing your voice too.
Oh, you're so sweet. And I love that you say that because that was my other issue. Did not like my voice, didn't want to make a track. And so many people were like, oh, you have such a nice voice. And I was like, really? And I finally, it's almost like I started hearing my own voice differently.
Yes.
And again, like this whole experience for me has been amazing. Like it's been so healing. So helping other people, we help ourselves, we heal ourselves. And I love that. That's what I love about Insight Timer.
Anybody who's a coach probably have realized that people that you coach, the stuff that they present are things that you probably need to address yourself.
Yes.
You're like, oh, I should probably take my own advice on that one.
Exactly. So I say that all the time because I'm always helping lift other people. And then I'm like, oh, I should take my own advice. Why am I being so hard on myself?
Yeah, yeah. And for the longest time, I could not stand my voice either. I was like, it sounds muffled and deep and blah blah blah. And
I was like, it's scratchy. It's
I love
this.
I love scratchy voices.
That's so funny.
I love raspy, scratchy voices.
Aw. So I love what Serena says. Thank you, Serena, so much. You know what? I'm going to start narrating audiobooks. Thank you for that. I love that.
Mhm.
And again, I was comparing myself to other people. Their voice is
Yeah.
perfect. Her voice is fluid. Hers is sweet. You know, I mean, comparison is a thief of joy. I wish
Mhm.
Ann Lewis was here because we've been talking about doing a live on that. So that's what we're going to do next. All right,
Yeah.
ladies?
Yeah, let's do it.
And this is
Excellent.
so common, around voice. This is something that people are most afraid of, speaking up, showing their voice. But once you get attuned to your field, your energetic field, or your soul purpose, and
Yeah.
place where you feel good, then you naturally attune, and truly, yes, people begin to love your voice just because it just matches who you are.
Right.
So it's really comforting to have someone in front of you who is authentic and speaking naturally. It's really, regulating our nervous system too. We can feel that.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's amazing to me because I can tell when someone's being authentic now by their voice. Like certain people, when they talk, I'm like, not feeling that authenticity. I feel like they're on stage, and I felt I have to have that stage presence if I'm going to go on Insight Timer, but it isn't me. Like I don't want to. I don't want to do that. So I love that you said that. That's so true.
Yeah, it takes too much energy.
Serena, I think Serena, you're onto something. Women's edition. I like that. Yes, absolutely, right? Because we've got Alejandro doing the men's edition,
Mhm.
which, of course we did because we felt like men did not have as much of a voice on Insight Timer as women do. But I like that. Maybe we'll do when I started on Insight Timer, I was doing a thing called Coffee and Crystals. Maybe we'll do like a Coffee and Crystals chat and we'll just chat about whatever we want. I love that.
Yes.
That is so cool. That's what my Free Flow Fridays have pretty much turned into, beautifully named after Jessica here in the chat one day.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
she
I
did
love
that.
that.
I used to call it something else, and she was like, "This is like a Free Flow Friday." I was like, "You know what? I'm taking
Love
that.
it.
Thank
I
you." So
love
I try to give her a shout out every now and then. Um, but yeah, the conversations, there's no agenda. We just talk. And I do either some healing, or if people present with that, or it just flows however it flows, which is why we
Yeah.
call it free flow.
Yeah. And that was one of my fears also becoming an Insight Timer teacher. I'm not one to plan ahead. I don't make an outline. I don't have an agenda. And I thought, how's that going to work? What if I have nothing to say? Hasn't happened yet.
Well, when you talk about what you enjoy, we can talk.
Right. I know. I remember when we were doing that decluttering live with Rebecca, you and I were on the side chatting about crystals. That was
Yeah.
hysterical. I was like, we need to do something on crystals because I'm like taking over her decluttering thing with, picking up my different crystals. Because when you get into something, you just don't want to stop. I love it. We're going to have to do a thing on crystals, human design. I've got a long list now. I hope everybody who's been in the chat today will message me afterwards and remind me of all the themes that we've unearthed today because we'll cover them all. It may take a while, but we can do it. All right, friends. I'm going to close by letting our guests share anything they have coming up, tracks, lives, anything they want to add. And I'm going to start with Marion. She's like, I wasn't expecting that.
Yes, completely. That's the moment where I should be serious. Well, I will be live because that's mainly what I do on Insight Timer is live because it's a place I feel more free and I can give people maybe some space time for finding their own freedom. So my next live is next Saturday, a body voice flow routine called The Song You Are. So just trying to reconnect to your flow and find intuitive movement that feels good to you. And then I will go on with a piano live session just afterwards. So just check out my profile if you want to follow me and you will find everything there. So that's it.
Beautiful. And again, all their links, because I know it's hard to find everybody here with everything so tiny. If you click on my teacher's profile, there's a link in there where I have links that will show you, I can't mention, that will show you their links. But you're finding Inside Timer teachers, so it's okay. So you click on my profile, you find that link, and then you will find everyone here. Taylor.
Oh, I've enjoyed this so much. I will be having my weekly mindful tea session. So Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time, where we have tea, cacao, coffee. I usually will lead a meditation, give some journal prompts. We love to just chat. And then I'll do an oracle card reading at the end. It's a beautiful space that I'm really, really just honored to host. And I also do goddess circles, usually about once a month. So I'll have one of those up pretty soon as well. So feel free to join if it feels good and right. And I would love to invite you.
Yeah, I happened to go to Taylor's live today and it was amazing. So many amazing topics. I was sitting there with my journal. I was writing the whole time and I loved it. And I was sitting in my bed, so I didn't want to get up. My friend Nicole, share with us.
Awesome sauce. Well, I'll be traveling next week, so I won't have my
Oh,
normal Saturday um live, but I still, I have meditation every morning, 5:30 a.m. on here live, and then Free Flow Fridays, although I believe this Friday I will be out of town, so I won't have it normally. And we're going through The Wild Edge of Sorrow, that book, that grief book. Is a beautiful, beautiful book. So that's what we're doing on Saturdays right now, 10 a.m. Eastern. Um, and we're on, just making our way through it, creating grief circles, creating space, doing healing energy work and all of that as we recognize some of the things that we've been grieving and didn't realize we've been grieving. So it's been such a beautiful space, and I am honored to hold in some of the stories that are shared. Yeah. But that's primarily it. So the following Saturday we will resume. And then I'll wait for a meditation retreat. But yeah,
oh,
that's what I
nice.
yeah,
Are
for my
you doing the
school.
retreat yourself or you're going to one?
My school is hosting it, 7 days meditation retreat. So yeah.
Serena writes, highly recommend The Wild Edge of Sorrow and Nicole's weekly sharing of it, life-changing. That's beautiful. Awesome.
Thank you.
And such a needed thing, grief is such a huge topic and honestly not one that I would be equipped to handle. So the fact that you can do that, I think is amazing.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And we have, let me think now, Wednesday, we've got Ask Your Guides Men's Edition with Alejandro. And then Thursday we have the Ask Your Guides, the normal edition. I forget who's coming. I have so many of those planned that I have forgotten. And I plan them months in advance. So the fact that I planned this on Wednesday with like a couple of days notice was feeling the fear and doing it anyway, for sure. All right. All right, my friends. So we're going to say goodbye. And once again, a reminder, if you want to support the teachers, listen to our tracks, attend those live events. We love it. When you listen to the tracks, leave comments, even a smiley face, that helps. And that's what I love. I love interacting with people in comments, when they listen to a track, especially the ones that I thought were horrible and they didn't. And it makes it like worthwhile. I mean, it's worthwhile anyway, but it just validates that feeling that fear and doing it anyway and taking the chance to be here and to put yourself out there and to be vulnerable and especially for people like myself who are terrified of speaking in front of other people and going on camera and look what I'm doing. Serena, thank you so much for that donation. That was really beautiful. For those of you who don't know, I have a couple of animal rescues that I love to share my donations with. So thank you. Thank you, Nicole and Taylor and Marion, for joining me. I had invited certain teachers that I felt I really resonated with, and that you showed up for me is amazing. I'm so appreciative of that. I think we all share that kind of soft spoken introvert personality, and it feels so good to be around people, like minded people. It feels great to be amongst this community of like minded souls. Talk about finding your tribe. I really feel like that's what Insight Timer has done for me. And that, has boosted my confidence. It's made this introvert put herself out there in ways she never thought she could. So thank you. Serena, when I make it to Ask Your Guides, I try to find and follow every teacher. Awesome. Awesome. And remember, if you look at the link in my profile, I will post the replay of the video, and I will also include links to all the teachers. So if you look at that link, any live I've ever done, all the replays are there, all the teachers' links are there, because more than anything, I love when people tell me they found somebody new because of this. It's like, oh, I didn't know this person, or I didn't know what they did, and I saw them on your live, so now I'm following them and we've connected. And I don't know, for me, that's like, it's better than getting paid to be here. So I love that. I love bringing people together. That must be somewhere in my human design.
I was going to say, is
Nicole.
that a 4 profile?
Is it a 4? Because I'm a 2/4 projector.
It's a 4.
Oh, see, you have to explain all that to me, because I've got my human design, but I don't really understand it all. Oh, I love that. It makes sense now. That totally makes sense. All right, friends. So thank you very much for joining us. And we're going to say goodbye. And we will definitely see you soon, because we need more of this. I need more of this.
Yes.